Welcome everybody to the Genesis Mindset and back onto the pDAI. There has been some big moves in pDAI lately. Things are starting to skyrocket, not to mention just the general excitement in the ecosystem about pDAI. So your friend Sami Habibi has done a video, a 2.5 minute video, basically saying that nobody really cares about use cases. People just go for the speculation. So he's got friends calling him up saying, have you heard about pDAI? Have you heard about pDAI? And this is what people care about. People care about the specky plays. So we also had Ian from the Crypto Kings do a nice little 5-minute video the other day about the 414 ecosystem and how Atropa, pDAI, and Teddy Bear are like the leaders in the Atropa ecosystem. And then NineIronCapital has come out with a banger of a Twitter thread. So I wanted to go over that Twitter thread today and just deconstruct it together. I haven't actually fully looked at it. I just quickly looked at it. I've had a very busy weekend, so I haven't been able to follow everything. So I want to deconstruct it with you guys today and just see if we can make some sense of it, because I know NineIronCapital has done some phenomenal deconstructive tweets in the past. So let's get into it. So first, we will start with everybody's favorite, the most important thing, the price. So this is in USD. So simply in USD, if we go to, so this is just DAI to PLS. Always make sure you got the correct DAI. So 1D0F is the correct DAI. So at the moment, it is sitting at a 481x to parity to $1. We've almost broken the all-time high. We're at a key level here. So it's really looking like it's going to break out of this level very soon. Just as I was predicting about a month ago when I started to say that it looks like we're in this second phase of the pump for the Atropa ecosystem. So if this does break it, it creates massive validity around the Atropa ecosystem, and it gives me the conviction to say we are just getting started, because we saw a huge pump in Pulsechain, and then that huge pump in Pulsechain fed into the Atropa ecosystem. So this is an amazing development in the ecosystem. So to WPLS, obviously at the moment, PLS is still sitting quite strong, but it has also broken out of these key levels here. So it is heading towards all-time highs. So right here, we're sitting on, well, as a matter of fact, this whole region here is basically a key region. So I always like to do areas rather than specific price levels, because I find areas is a lot better. So we could say that this area here is a very key, like a key zone, this whole zone here. So we're kind of in the middle of this key zone. We've had smack bang in the middle here is where we're sitting at the moment. So this would be a key level, but this is a key zone. So we've broken out of these levels here, where we're currently sitting at these levels here. There probably could be a pullback. So if we see like a pullback down to this level and then a push up, then this is a good thing. So it's really depending on how it's actually going to happen. So it's always good to compare it to PLS, because PLS is the big daddy. Now, everybody's favorite, Zach. So this is a tweet that I saw of his today, and he said, it will grow virally. Maria has been cooking in the Pulsechain kitchen since testnet launch. This is something that people often oversee. The Atropa ecosystem was launched and being tested on the Pulsechain testnet, and Atropa / pDAI. If we see more locked liquidity strategies and keep a clear audit of mintabilities, we will beat all the other chains easily. So this is our BAI my BAI 414. So let's have a look at this, what BAI was saying. If we see more locked liquidity strategies and keep a clear audit for mintabilities, we will beat all the other chains easily. Was this yesterday at 11:11? I wonder. The most hardcore scenario has the ecosystem outperforming and then feeding into the P stables. Let's read that again. The most hardcore scenario has the ecosystem, so the Atropa ecosystem, outperforming and then feeding into the P stables. This was something that I mentioned, I think it was a week or two ago, that I'd read in the chat log, that Atropa was designed to outperform P stables. That's the whole design intent behind it. Whereas the scenario I planned for has the P stables rising and the ecosystem is just a factor on the chain. So again, whereas the scenario I planned for has the P stables rising and the ecosystem is just a factor on the chain. So the Atropa ecosystem is just a factor on the chain. But the most hardcore scenario is if the Atropa ecosystem actually outperforms the P stables. So the P stables will get to that $1. And again, I do want to emphasize P stable. She's not saying pDAI. So P stables, USDC, USDT. So you can actually get some good deals in there, where you might actually be able to get, especially at these particular prices. If it does get to $1, you might end up having like a few hundred or a few thousand extra, which ends up making quite a big difference when you get to that dollar mark. And then Kevin here said, how will you teach what's happening? And she said, it will grow virally. So this is how Zach actually started. So this is really exciting. Okay, now let's break down. So pDAI Maxi at NineIronCapital. So this guy has been covering pDAI for a long time, and he's got some, I don't understand how he's got so few followers. He's pinned, this is his new, has he pinned this one now? Okay, so this is, he's pinned one. He had one, he's done a lot where it basically just breaks down everything about pDAI. So let's look at this. So pDAI is inevitable. Here is proof that Richard Hart-Wynn is in control of the P maker. So the MakerDAO on Pulsechain. Richard Hart is reprogramming pMaker to operate on Pulsechain, and a recapitalization of the maker can establish the peg. So ever wonder why Richard Hart tested PRC pools? It is for the pDAI/maker. And then he's linked Hex, Pulse, PulseX. So let's have a look at his image here. Okay, so this is, oh my goodness. All right, so this looks like an extremely delicate diagram. I'm not sure where he's got this from or where it's actually come from, if this has come from like the maker site or if he's created this. Oh my God. So there's a lot of lines and a lot of words. So let's see if we can get the general gist of it. So you won't be able to see it, but in the very top right-hand corner is ESM user, and it goes into ESM. I don't even know what these things mean, man. Oh, emergency shutdown module. And then you've got the end. So when it shuts down, so URN user. Okay, so I think this has got something to do with the pDAI, the MakerDAO contract. It kind of looks like this. Man, there's a lot of lines. Okay, can I make any sense of it? Can anyone make any sense of it? I hope there's some leading context into it, but really, that, I don't even know what that means. Public calls, government calls, author calls. Oh boy. Okay, so end. Yeah. No idea. Jug, pot, flap. Very interesting. So jug, flap, flop. Very interesting terminology here. Okay, right. No idea. If anyone knows anything, I should certainly ask, but in any case, and he's relinked. So this is an example of one of his old threads. So when tracking this wallet on Etherscan, we can see 547 ETH routed through Tornado Cash to hide the trail. So that's just over $1 million. This wallet was, and so make a note of this. So this is another thread that I've looked at in the past. So you can definitely go look at this. So NineIronCapital done amazing research. He's been MIA for a while, but he's back into it, and I'm really hoping to get him on and have a chat with him so he can really explain things and I can ask him and really get a better understanding in this way. So in the early days, we discovered 547 ETH payment using Tornado Cash to the Maker team. So this is something that has been heavily publicized by the pDAI community. We were wrong about that. After analyzing this transaction again and spending days understanding the Maker system, it is clear this was Richard Hart taking control of Maker. Right, okay. So basically that was saying that this 547 ETH was used to pay Maker, but now they're saying they were wrong about that because it's actually being used to take control of Maker. But how is this possible? The first transaction from the B22F wallet was with 9E6F wallet. So this wallet had 70 ETH deposited into it from Tornado Cash. This wallet is the mastermind taking control of Maker in June 2022 on Pulsechain. So this is just before Pulsechain launched. So the 9E6F wallet bought 320,000 pAAVE tokens using its ETH and used these tokens to force a governance vote. This started on the 28th of June, 2023. So once again, just before, let's have a look. Here we go. So votes on proposal submits, so voter proposer. Okay, so this is what actually happened with, this is what happens with Aave and governance. So the voter submits new proposal or votes on a proposal. And so there's a guardian that's able to cancel proposals. As protection, it can only abdicate, setting the guardian to the 00x0 address. So it's like the burn address. So it's a government, so they submit a proposal or a vote to the governance contract. And then the governance contract then stores it, forces all the new proposals to use the whitelisted strategy, which then in this, if it goes this particular route, goes into staked Aave and Aave, or it goes into uses them to validate and execute a proposal. So then it goes to a short time lock or a long time lock, or maybe it does both. I'm not too sure. And then it goes to the protocol and through the ecosystem reserve, and then the Aave and staked Aave. So it looks to me like it requires all of these. So all of these things are working in harmony. It's not just going through one particular route. So when a long time lock owns, it changes the governance strategy and whitelists executors. So obviously, I think it's saying that basically if it, after this long time lock, if it's all approved, then it goes back into the governance contract, which owns then the proposal, and then it changes the governance strategy and the whitelists and whitelist executors. So this gets changed. And so, yes, even the short time lock and long time lock. So yes, it goes into the governance contract and back into the governance strategy. Okay, so that's what's happened there. That's what they've discovered through DBank. So the 9E6F wallet then withdrew 1.26 million pAAVE tokens from the staked pAAVE vaults. And so the transaction to empty the Aave. So they've basically shown the transaction, and this is the Aave vault. And so this is going to go somewhere, looks to me like, oh, it's DBank. So while that loads, so, well, I mean, it's essentially here anyway. So basically just showing this. Right, okay, so there we go. So that happened. So 1.2 million Aave. So this, these guys do some amazing research. So the 9E6F then actioned another series of requests to allow the interest-bearing Aave vaults to be withdrawn for another 1.28 million pAAVE. So the pAAVE is the forked Aave. So this totals 2.5 million, 2.55 million, and 175K. This was all done interacting with the C789 contract. And the C789 contract must be significant in that it's probably one of the Aave contracts. And then the 9E6F wallet then drained the 58K P maker, so the forked maker, from the Aave interest-bearing maker vault using the C7A9. So all the pAAVE steps above use this contract. So basically you have the P maker 1, P maker 2, so showing the different transactions. That wallet also drained the link, so the fork link, the fork, not the forked Yearn Finance, but maybe it's supposed to say forked Yearn Finance, forked Uni, and forked WPTC from the Aave vaults using that C7A9 for a total of 566 each ETH, which it sent into Tornado Cash on the 3rd of July, 23. Wow, so all this was getting done on the fork. So as it was forked, all this was actually happening in the background. So the 9E6F wallet then sent the 46.2 thousand forked maker into MakerDAO's 3F9D wallet to pause all governance votes and decisions for a specific period. Then he's showing the transaction. This effectively allowed the wallets to pause all governance as per the 3rd section in the diagram above. Okay, so in this major diagram, so he's basically taken a portion of this major diagram here, and what they've done up to this point is basically paused. This has effectively allowed the wallets to pause all the governance as per the 3rd section in the diagram below. So they've taken over the maker, paused the governance, and then so this same wallet, 9E6F, wallet then conducted a series of governance changes. My assumption is this was to halt all inflows into MakerVault, as this was the vote that stops the pDAI inflation bugs. So that's speculation there. So the next lot of changes the wallet made was to set the owner of the governance of MakerDAO to a different wallet. So B22F wallet. Remember this wallet from number 3 in this thread. It uses the DS chief route below. Let's just go to number 3. Which wallet was that? The first transaction from the B22F wallet was the 9E6F wallet. This wallet had 70 ETH deposited into it from Tornado Cash. So this B22F had 70 ETH deposited into it from Tornado Cash. So this wallet is the mastermind taking control of Maker in June of 2023. Boy, this is juicy. This is exciting. Okay, so I hope you guys are keeping up. I'm basically more or less keeping up. What I really love about this is it's visual and it's words, so it's really helpful, and I'm hoping it's helpful to others. I mean, the quality of, man, NineIronCapital. Then the B22F wallet drained the Maker, the forked MakerVault, for a total of 11,941 forked WBTC worth 1.1 million. And also, do you guys remember at the very start? Let's show more here. Okay, do you guys remember at the very start the forked WBTC had a huge rush, had a huge spike in price at the very beginning when Pulsechain launched, and when it was all when it was basically being used to farm ink. Okay, so where are we up to? We are up to here. So the B22F wallet then sent the forked wrapped Bitcoin worth $1.1 million into the Pulse and DAI, and moved it over the bridge, and then moved it into Ethereum and sent 547 ETH into the 6B10 address, which sent it to Tornado Cash on 8th of July 2023. So jumping back to the 9E6F wallet, the last thing it did was lock all forked Maker governance and transfer its rights to the 17F7 wallet. This holds the key to what is coming next, as this was all performed on the testnet. So this was all experimented with on the testnet first. The 17F7 wallet hasn't done anything since, but its next moves on the testnet are auditable. If it follows the same steps as on the testnet, the 17F7 wallet will rewrite the governance smart contract and portion IOUs within the forked Maker governance framework. So let's just have a look at what this image says. So understanding the IOUs. So the purpose of the IOU token is to allow for the chaining of governance contracts. In other words, this allows you to have a number of DS Chief or other similar contracts use the same governance token by means of accepting the IOU token of the DS Chief contract before it is a governance token. Let's say there are 3 DS Chief contracts, so Chief A, B, and C, and a Chief A.gov that is the Maker token. If we set Chief B.gov to Chief A.iou and Chief C.gov to Chief B.iou, this allows all 3 contracts to run using a common group of Maker. Don't really understand that, not going to lie. The next for the 17F7 wallet is to enable a recapitalization of the Maker vaults through its push, pull, mint functions. I'll keep going here. Well, actually, I'm just going to jump into this thought. So what I'm really interested in now, going through this thread, I want to hear from the Maxis who were basically saying this is an impossibility based on what was happening with the Maker. I know KDP was very emphatic about the way that the MakerDAO contract was interacted with. And so I wonder if, I doubt that she watches this channel, but I would love for her to see this thread, and I would love for her to actually see what's happening here and get her perspective on it, because we all know KDP is, I mean, she's got the looks and the brain. So I'd really love to hear what she says, because there was an interesting debate between her and some of the pDAI guys a while ago. But in my opinion, it wasn't a very good debate, because both sides of the argument were basically they're basically debating like 2 different things, that both one was talking about apple trees and the other one was talking about orange trees. And it was like, you guys need to be debating about apple trees and just apple trees. Why is one talking about oranges and one talking about apples? Don't get excited, Tangang, not those kinds of oranges, but hashtag Tangang. But yes, it was a frustrating debate. But I wonder now if she would possibly reconsider some of her thinking behind it based on this thread. And especially also some of the maxis who were like, no, this is all just speculation. Once you start seeing this evidence, can you start denying it? Who knows? So lastly, the 17F7 wallet tries to play around with burning maker tokens also. It is so clear that the intention is to repeg pDAI with this functionality. So how do we know it's Richard Hart? This, in my opinion, is where it gets speculation. So let's start with the largest holder of PWBC. So the forked wrapped Bitcoin, the 2822 wallet. This wallet was airdropped 6.7 trillion PulseX and 6.2 trillion Pulse on launch. This is the Richard Hart wallet. Okay, all right. So isn't it convenient that the 2822 wallet added liquidity pools to the exact PRCs? I mean, really, Richard Hart wallets or origin address wallets? I don't know if that's what he means or if he's aligning them both. I'm not too sure. It would be better if it was the origin address, because it's like, yeah, I mean, we want the origin address to be in control of all of this. We want it to be like a neutral. Well, actually, the origin address is not really neutral. The origin address, if anything, is more of a benevolent force to the ecosystem rather than a malevolent force. And we love the origin address. We've learned to trust it in the Hex ecosystem and the Richard Hart ecosystem because it's never acted against us. It's only acted for us. So, I mean, even when PulseX, so when there was the last move with PulseX, the big move across, and then it ended up taking control of PulseX, a lot of people were like, oh, this was a little bit dodgy that the origin address came across and did this and maintained the majority holding of the PulseX. But I would much rather that. I would much rather that than say, I don't know, BlackRock or someone like that coming along. I mean, they're not going to come along and do that, but you just never know. Someone like this who comes along and doesn't want to see this ecosystem flourish can come along and totally destroy it by owning majority of the supply. So people really overlook this key aspect of the origin address as a protective force. It's there to protect the ecosystem by maintaining the majority of the supply. It's a defense. It's a defense mechanism. And even in the highest of stakes, when they showed the hex address and it was the origin address was split into like hundreds or thousands of different wallets. And what's his guy? The guy who used to run, bloody hell, I can't even remember it now. It was one of those, not CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. It was Nomics. And he was in the highest of stakes and he's like, oh, this looks really dodgy. And the first thing that popped into my head is like, this is phenomenal. Like if somebody happens to break into the origin address wallet and there's like millions and billions of tokens sitting in there, they could just drain it and then everybody's screwed. But if it's divided up into like thousands of different wallets that are like unconnected, that's just like another layer of defense. Like people, yeah, let's look at it from that perspective. If I've always looked at it like it's in protection of the ecosystem, so I've never had any skepticism towards it whatsoever. It's always been like, oh, awesome, that's awesome. And because I have that perspective, it's very easy. It's very easy to see the positivities in it. In the same way that I'm looking at the positivities of this whole pDAI and p-stables thing. Yes, it might not work. Yes, it could just be wild speculation, but I'm not even prepared to entertain that, because if it's not, then it's just not going to be. Why would I want to add negative energy into that field of possibilities, into that field of potentials, when I can add positive energy into it and increase the likelihood of it happening? Because if positive energy is going to increase the likelihood of it happening, then Pulsechain is going to be one of the, if not the number one blockchains on the planet. I would much rather that. And if it's not going to peg and it was all just like this gigantic elaborate scam, then it was always going to happen anyway. So what's the point of the negativity? That's how I look at it. So I always try and have that positivity and add the positivity into the quantum field, into the universal consciousness. Okay. So isn't it convenient that the 2822 wallet added liquidity pools to the exact PRCs he needed to dump into from the forked Aave vaults on the 26th of June 2023, 2 days before it happened? The liquidity was removed on the 8th of July, just after the forked Aave and forked maker operation finished. This liquidity enabled Richard Hart to transfer tokens from pools he set up with the 2822 wallet and move them into the 96F and B22F wallets while capturing the maker system. So basically now, what they're getting at is this wallet, whether it's Richard Hart or not, has basically now taken control of this. So I think we would rather it be Richard Hart, because we know that our boy is going to take care of all of his boys and gals. Like we know that. We know he's got he's got everybody's back because he's here to help everybody. He's not here to extract from everybody. He's here to give to everybody. He's a giving tree. So we'd like to imagine that it's Richard Hart, but even if it's not, doesn't matter who it is. It seems like it's someone who's doing something in the beneficial to benefit the ecosystem. So it could even be related to 414. It could even be Bay. Who knows? We really don't know. So back into it. So this liquidity enabled Richard Hart to transfer tokens from pools he set up with the 2822 wallet and move them into the 9E6F and B22F wallets while capturing the maker system. So now the maker system has been captured through this whole process. So the question is, if the all-knowing leader of the ecosystem wouldn't know there is a bad actor that already has control of forked maker and forked DAI, would he post this and put people in harm's way? Of course he knows. Of course he knows. So this is on January 21st. If you got DAI USDT to have their stablecoins directly on Pulsechain, as they do on their own networks, it would increase security and reduce costs. And for me, I read that simply as like, he's basically saying, we want our own DAI, USDC, and USDT. That's how I read it. That's how I read it. And then he went on to tell the community, like, if you really want it, then ask those contracts to have it on here. But better still, let's have our own versions of it on here. That's even more secure because we're not relying on any external force because we have it already here. That would be the best. That would be the best. And our boy, even the tweet the other day with the 414, and everybody went crazy with the 414. Oh, Tiki, we love you, Tiki. All right. So this is a huge confirmation that the pDAI contract is working perfectly. All Richard Hart needs to do is peg pDAI. All Richard Hart needs to do to peg pDAI is to get the collateral pools to be greater than the market cap. So this is easy and it can be accelerated by the PRC liquidity pools with wrapped ETH and Pulse additions and a recapitalization of Maker. And so to get the collateral pools, so people are saying that the Atropa ecosystem is going to be the collateral that's going to back pDAI. So if that collateral is bigger than the market cap, then this is how you can peg pDAI. All-time highs are coming up. We are so early on this. Resume the pegging. So what do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of that? That was the first time that I fully read it and it all made sense. I mean, of course, there were those funky diagrams which I didn't fully understand, but for the majority, the flow of what he was talking about, it all made perfect sense. This is how it's going to happen. This is how it can happen. There might be things that he's missed. There might be things that I've missed in my lack of understanding because I'm only just going off what I see in others. I can only understand it based on the information that comes into my brain. There might be others who have other kinds of information and they're going to think, well, no, NineIronCapital's missed X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Again, it's all just speculation. It's all just hearsay at the minute. There's a lot of people in the pDAI camp who have that deep conviction. I'm choosing to stay on I'm trying my best to stay neutral, but in all honesty, I'm definitely leaning towards it being a possibility, mostly because I want it to be a possibility. I really want it to be a possibility. Again, the pillars that Somi spoke about, Bitcoin as the first pillar of cryptocurrency, Ethereum as the second pillar, the revolution of smart contracts, Uniswap was the third pillar, a revolution on exchanging tokens because it's fully decentralized. So there's no centralized ownership. It's fully decentralized and everybody can be an owner in the liquidity. And this was a revolution on the cryptocurrencies. So this was the third pillar. I think you may have said Chainlink is the fourth pillar or potentially the fourth pillar. And if you ask me, a fully decentralized stablecoin, a stablecoin that does not rely on outside liquidity, is the fifth pillar. This completely disconnects it from the outside world. This creates an island within a decentralized ecosystem. This is something that can be replicated on every single chain in a very similar way, and it won't require outside liquidity, which means we are not beholden to what the outside world demands of us. We can be our own custodians of our own cryptocurrencies in our own ecosystems. We don't actually need, because there's going to be, there's looks that there could be, I mean, you got CBDCs potentially coming up, and then there's going to be people also within the bug eaters who who are going to try and strangulate USDC, USDT. They've been trying for many, many years. pDAI, sorry, just DAI. So do we really want that? Do we really want any influence from the outside world? Do we want that risk? Do we want that external risk? I say no. I say this could be the biggest revolution in cryptocurrency since Uniswap. I really do believe that. And if it happens and was birthed on Pulsechain, the Freedom Chain, Team Win, how many eyeballs does that bring to Pulsechain? What's the point of fighting it? What's the point of fading it? Why not just speculate? Why not just look at this and go, you know what? If this does peg to $1 with 100, I could have like a few $1,000s when this pegs. I could be a custodian of this ecosystem. It's a 481x to peg. That's a pretty, that's really, 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 really good odds. We forget about how amazing that is with just a $20, a lottery ticket. Then there's people in here who are like the whales, and I mean, NineIronCapital, I imagine he's probably a whale in this, so it's really made him very interested in studying this, and this is exactly what you want. These are exactly the kinds of people that you want in it. I don't see NineIronCapital. I don't see people like Zach. I don't see these guys like Hodlnomics looking at this going, oh, I'm just going to dump it all when it gets to $1. I don't see that. I don't see the big whales talking about that. There's probably going to be some whales that are going to dump it, and it's going to, like, you know, cause a stir in the peg. But I see these guys actually interested in stabilizing this ecosystem and creating something that is totally unique to cryptocurrency. So again, it's like, just how can you not be positive about this? It's like all the signs keep pointing to it. All the evidence seems like it's leading to it. So which way will you choose? Will you choose to stay skeptical and then be skeptical and skeptical and skeptical and skeptical until you see it a 10th of the way, or 25% of the way, or 50% of the way? And then do you want to get to that 50% of the way and go, right, I'm not missing out on this, it's definitely going to $1, but by then it's already 50 cents and then you can only get a 2x? What do you see? What do you want? The asymmetric upside is phenomenal in this, because also you're getting people who are interested in this as a meme coin, but it's much more than a meme coin. It's much more than a meme coin, and I'm treating it more than a meme coin. A meme coin to me is I buy Doge, wait for it to do a 10,000x, then dump it, and I don't care about holding any of it. I don't see that with this. I don't see that at all with what's happening with pDAI. I'm looking at this as a builder. I'm looking at this as a custodian of this financial system that we're trying to create on Pulsechain, on Team Win Chain. So how do you see it? What did you make of this? Man, very exciting. Awesome to be back in Brisbane. Awesome to be reporting again with all my bits and pieces. So thanks very much, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you got some value out of that. And go follow NineIronCapital, guys. Go follow him and just keep your eyes and your ears open, and your heart and your mind open. Thank you very much. Take care.